Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvellously well. I'm here with Mr. Nick Soudan. How the devil are you?
Not bad at all, thank you, Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you. So this is Lamarcus Studio, this is Nick's studio. We've got a few goodies here because we decided to have Callie ship us over some things that we can try out here in the studio. One of them is the In-UNF, which we've already reviewed. If you recall from that video, did you ever watch it? What it is it's a unit that's called the Ultra Near Field. So it's designed, frankly, to have speakers in a room where maybe you don't have very good acoustics in the room. So, because what you can do is you put your laptop on it, and then these speakers are literally sitting here. So yes, you know, there will be some ambience, but reality, it's not the same as having speakers all the way back there. And we found it quite useful. The monitor stand itself, you know, if you want to call it monitor stand, is kind of a sub. So I think we should start by unpacking this and trying it out in your room. What do you think?
Sounds ideal.
Good.
Let's try it. How many engineers does it take to open a box?
That bit could be too many. Bring in some more people to help. All right, so here it is. Studio Monitor System Ultra Near Field. Dun, 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 dun. All right, well, we have a USB.
Yep, a USB A to C cable, I think.
Okay, so these are the little monitor stands here, which are made of rubber. So it gives you good isolation from the desk.
And I guess allows you to change the angle of the speaker.
The angle of the dangle, as it were, so it can
That's cool.
be aimed at your head. Well, what is it? Mr. Steve Klein, the great acoustic designer, told us that basically they need to be just passing your ears, which makes sense because there's some width. We'll see. Anyway, the best thing to do is place them in where they sound good.
There you go.
It's probably the logical thing.
Wow, look at them. It's all very space age, isn't it?
It is. It is. I think they've done well with these things because it's affordable. I don't remember the price off the top of my head, but you know, for many people, this is their first opportunity to get speakers from moving out from headphones.
And I think these are the same drivers that they use in some of their other studio monitors.
Yeah,
like the
probably.
standalone 2 and 3
What do you
ways.
think they are? 4.5 inch, something like that? 4.5?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I
Nice.
suppose, should we just take it all in
Why not?
and set it up?
Right.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, yeah, there's the sub. So we have two 4.5 inch horizontally opposed drivers. So I've got one here, and we're going to flip it back over. And another one there. Now it looks like all of the controls here, we've got an overall volume. There's a sleep wake up mode there. We've got our left and right satellite speaker input. Obviously power cable, on, off. Let's flip back over again. Now this is the interesting side, a 3.5 millimeter input. So I presume that's probably from a laptop out of the headphone input into there. Not presumably, I'm pretty darn sure that's what it's for. But then there is a TRS left and right input as well for 1/4 inch, which would come out, of course, of an interface. But I like the fact that they've designed this for anybody, if they don't have an interface and they're just using the internal sound card of their computer. That's a nice touch. And then this here, which we're going to have to explore, is a whole bunch of little mini switches which give you different settings depending on the size of your room, the acoustics, probably what it's being set up on, if it's sitting on top of a desk, etc. We'll have to get into that. We'll leave it flat when we listen at first. So the USB-C allows you to come straight out from your computer into it, just the same way you would with a 3.5 inch headphone jack. You can come out of your computer straight to USB-C. Apparently has its own, digital audio conversion built in. So that's quite nifty, that, and I presume the same thing with the optical. You could come out of your interface and optical out and go straight in there. All rather nifty. So it gives you tons of different ways of connecting it, whether you just have a computer and you only have an analog out, or you have a digital out, or you have an optical from your interface, or you want to come out of your interfaces main left and right. Lots of opportunity to connect with it.
Okay, so two of the ways that they show it set up, with a laptop,
Yep.
they put this vertically behind it here. With a separate display, they put the display on it. You don't have to use it in either of those ways.
The last time we did this, we did it with the laptop on top of it, and it worked great. Let's do it differently.
Okay.
Put it behind. We're going to do it differently. See, there'll be a link to the other video where you saw the laptop sitting on top. This one we're going to put behind. There you go. Like this.
Beautiful.
Presume we're going to create some kind of equilateral triangle.
I think roughly normal sort of thing. It says it's built. It says that they're built for monitoring from 0.8 of a meter, which is about arm's length for most people, apparently. Yeah, something like that.
0.8 of a meter, about arm's length.
From that. Yeah.
This looks and feels like if I was sitting here that it's going to be coming about here.
Right, let's wire them up then.
I could be wrong. So what we've done is we've set this up and we haven't flicked any switches on it whatsoever, so it's flat. What we have here is a cover we did at Nick's studio, La Barca, but also at BIM. But the drums were recorded here, and we did do some mixing and some other schnizzle here, so we know how this track sounds here. Nick has some beautiful speakers, some Quested, which are several thousand. I don't know what, they were like £2,000 when he bought them and changed, so they're probably about $4,000 speakers. So quite a lot more expensive anyway than the Cali. So I think a good reference, we know how they sound in the room. But firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check on the DT1770s. I have some 1990 Pros, so I know them really well. Bayer or Bayer Dynamics headphones are superb and definitely on the flatter side. So let's have a listen. Good. You won't be able to hear this, and I'm talking exceptionally loud, I'm sure, because I'm wearing a pair of headphones. And I'm going to solo the bass. Just flat, but I've got a little 80 hertz bump, 0.4 of a dB. It's pretty even. None of the low end is jumping in and out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the speakers, and I'm going to select the Quested first. So this is how I've been listening in the room. So we're listening to these lovely, expensive speakers. Now we'll go to the Calis. Now bear in mind these are set flat. We haven't done anything based on their recommendations for the format that we're in. But we've got to start with something as a reference point. Okay, immediately loads more 80 to 100 hertz and probably a little bit more low lows. So there's no lack of subbiness going on here. I'm going to crank. Solo the bass. Okay, one thing I do like is it's even. It's definitely even. There's no like low frequency jumping out and another one disappearing. So that's a good start. So it means that if we can control the bass in relation to the satellites, we might have something pretty tasty. Let's go back to the whole track. Knowing this song, knowing how the final mix sounded, I suspect that it's a little bit dominant in the sub at the moment. Just a schnizzle too much. Do you want to have a listen yourself?
Sure.
Have a listen.
These are the things that you do without. Come on. I'm talking to
Like you want it to be 3 dB louder, don't you, when you go to that one?
Yeah. We can do that.
Let's do it.
It's closer.
I mean, they're very different sounding, but until we can control the lows, I can't tell whether it's a volume thing. You know what I mean? At the moment, the Quested is super hyped. Like you really hear 3 to 5K and above. Like there's a 10 or 12K, whoosh, you know, on it, which is insane. Super, super bright, but not piercing. They're good sounding monitors. So these sound quite mid-rangey in comparison, but there's so much difference in volume that I want to be able to cut the lows on this enough so that the balance is better. And then if we turn everything up, are they going to start to be competitive?
Let's try.
We're going to the little online manual that comes with it. First time setup, dip switches, okay. Page 14. Okay, dip switches, neutral, low frequency boost, don't need any more of that. Mid frequency boost and low frequency cut. Why don't we try that first? So this is a 2 dB mid-range boost
Yeah.
and a low frequency cut, which is
So that,
switch 4 down, switch 5 up,
Yeah.
switch 6 down.
that.
Nick is going to do the honours.
4 down, 5 up, 6 down.
Oh, so on switch 7, for instance, that's to turn the standby mode on and off.
Okay.
And switch 8 is to turn the LED on and off. And then if there's a brick wall, that's switch 2 and 3. Center of the room. This isn't the center of the room, but it also looks like comparable to what we've got.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing,
Kind of
isn't it?
setup. So we're going to do this as position 1. So that's switch 2 down and switch 3 down, which I think it already is, isn't it?
Yes, they are. Yeah, you're exactly right. The only one that's up now is 5 up.
Mid-range boost and low frequency cut. All right, let's try this out.
Shout, let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on, I'm talking to you. Come on.
So I'm doing a little volume bouncing here because this is more what we want. This is with the lows cut a little bit and the mid-range boost a little bit. And I wanted to know whether it was a lot to do with the fact that there's massive power amps in the Quested, and they're obviously designed to go, they're spec'd a lot louder, a lot more powerful. So I think I want to give it a fighting chance. So I've cut these Quested slightly. So this is just overall volume going into each now.
Shout, let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on.
Couple of dB extra on the Calais.
Shout, let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on, I'm talking to you.
So I'm switching between the Calais for the low end and the Quested on the low end. Back to the Quested. Wow, the difference is massive. It's all in the low end. There's something that's nice about the Quested subbiness underneath. Like I hear the kick kind of underneath, but I'm feeling a big dip at about 100, and that's the classic console thing, isn't it? It's like a desk console thing where you kind of get used to this. You get a bump and a cut all at the same kind of in a very similar area. So we're going to put the Sonar Works on the Quested, which do you not use very often?
I do use it quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, especially quite often I'll blend it as well.
So what's it doing? See, here's the dip. There it is.
Yeah.
We've got the OBS running. That's what I'm hearing. The 80 to 100 dip is frickin' 80 on the left and 100 on the right.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly right.
It's almost like I've been doing this for a while. All right, so yeah, so okay, now let's listen. I can turn it on and off here, so I'm going to leave it on for the moment and listen to
It's
the question.
only it's only set 50% wet right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give it a listen. It's enabled, and we're on the Quested.
They took you for a walk, boy. Kiss you goodbye. You shouldn't have to jump for joy. You shouldn't have to shout for joy. Let it all out. These are the things I can do without. Come on, talking to you. Come on.
I'm definitely hearing that do 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 do, a much better. Not massively, but I'm hearing it now. I'm going to obviously turn off the calibration because this is the Calais.
They took you for a walk, boy. Kiss goodbye. You should.
One thing I can say is you certainly do not need an external sub with this. The low end out of this is crazy. We're seeing improved results. The Sonar Works has been good for the Quested. It's helped although I still think it needs more in that area. What I do want to do, young Nick, is flatten this. I want to see if that makes a difference. I want to hear what the difference is if we put it down. At the moment, we've got it, vertically. Let's put it horizontally.
Okay.
Right, I just want to hear what that sounds like. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference or not, but it's one of the two recommended. Now they're saying do not put your laptop on top of it. And I think that's because if you've got a solid state drive like this laptop, that's absolutely fine. But if you've got a traditional old school spinning, whatever, you've got a big magnet pulling against other magnets, and that's not going to be pretty. So it looks like they've stopped recommending that. All right, let's have a listen. All right, I'm going to go back to the Quested. High-ended, ear-splitting. It's so bright. So it's calibration. Okay, back to the Callies. Obviously no calibration. I don't know what it is, maybe it's my imagination, but I think I prefer it like this. It might be dependent on each room. So if you get these or you're trying them out, flip it around, see if you like it vertically or horizontally. I don't know why, it could be just my imagination. The speakers are almost in the same position. This one's now on here, where before it would have been about here. There may be some effect happening on here. This does have rubber underneath here, so there's going to be decoupling. And these are very decoupled because this is a huge slab of rubber underneath all of these. I know it's a big discussion. Everybody likes talking about decoupling of the decoupling. The wonderful Nick over here says we can enable this custom target. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and drag this across to somewhere around about here where it starts to flatten off. And now everything above, what is that, 3K? Is actually the way the speakers sound in the room, which I cannot believe reads as being that down. The fact that it's saying anywhere from 3 to 5K is down, 3 or 4 or 5, 6 dB makes no sense to me. I'm not going to go there on it. But now, so what we've done is we've enabled it. We're going to go back to the Quested. It should be fun. It's enabled. Okay, turn off the calibration, go to the Callies. All right, I want to try something just for my own sanity. So I'm going to put the calibration back on. And this is totally stupid, but I like being stupid. And now I'm going to go and turn the calibration off of the Callies. So the calibration that was designed for the Quested is now disabled all the way through to 3K, and it's using this ridiculous boost that's only going to apply to the Callies. I like being silly. That sounds pretty darn close to the Quested now. Now let's go and do the opposite. Here. And go back to the Quested. Hope this all makes sense to you. requested. So again, onto the Callies. Bit more volume. Try that out.
You like that?
It's like getting to that place now where you start to think, yeah, there's a difference, but it's not that much difference, and there's a lot more like low end coming out of this. Try it out. This is Nick, whose room it is. You don't want to listen like that on the other ones.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah. I'll do the opposite.
As you say, the character gets a lot more similar, especially with the sense of brightness. So that's what difference is it? It's very interesting.
It is very interesting. It definitely levels the playing field quite considerably.
Yeah, he definitely takes away, for me, that sense of, well, for example, I used to listen to these super bright monitors. This kind of lack of clarity in the high end, or ear-hurtingness.
Yeah. I really can't believe that the Sound ID read that those need to be boosted anymore.
I think it's even been done twice. Wow. With two different mics, their mics.
Crazy. We've been working with Stephen Slate, rents one of our studios because we have these rooms that are just like super, super flat, and he toured all these different studios and found the flattest rooms. And he does his VSX headphones in there. That's where he does them, in the room, because the rooms are so flat. He was using the Trinnov, and we were finding that the Trinnov was reading inaccurately in certain areas. Right. It was an anomaly that we couldn't figure out, so we did exactly the same thing. We turned off the boost in that area. Yeah.
And it helped.
I think at the end of the day, you've got to listen. You've got to listen. And I think what we've proven here is, and there are other softwares, we're not advertising Sound ID, but what we've sort of figured out is that with a bit of EQ, a bit of judicious EQ, which really isn't that bad, you could sit there on the master bus and just kind of do a 3K kind of gentle lift, use like an airband on a Marg or something and go above it and gently give it probably will just even out all the playing field and give you all the detail you need for mixing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we didn't use Sound ID to do anything fancy. We didn't sit there and pull out any low mids or anything like that, or do any kind of anything. We just did the 2 dip switches and a high-end boost that wasn't even for those speakers.
Yeah, exactly. and then you'd have to do a mix, wouldn't you, like that, and see how it went into the real world. Yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm happy with the amount of low end that comes out of that unit. We could actually mix on it. I feel like there's a hollowness to the Quester, which is really fantastic sounding speakers, and there's a subbiness which is wonderful, and that might be with the proximity to the wall. It's getting that extra little like that 40. I'm definitely hearing some 40 hertz going on, 30, 40 hertz, which is very pleasing to sit there and hear that. And it's pleasing to hear all that high-end detail, but it's right on the verge of being too aggressive, and then the sonar makes it unbearable. Which is strange.
Go figure.
Yeah, I can't imagine being like, because this is probably aimed to a lot of people that are younger doing like EDM stuff and everything, I can't imagine that their ears, if that's really that down, that their ears would respond to that much boost.
Yeah, sure. No, exactly.
The other thing I must say, which is really super important, is both Nick and I have been sitting off here while the other one's been listening. The rejection's insane.
Yeah.
It's really, really good, which is what it's designed for. It's designed for people sitting in apartments. The big Quested, you sit back here, it's bleeding loud and it's high end and it's everything. But you go to those and it's kind of...
Yeah, when you're on axis, when you're here in the zone, then, then it's very balanced.
Yeah.
But you go off axis and you lose a lot very quickly. Which is a design feature of the system, rather than
which is what it's supposed to
people
do.
talk about a wide sweet spot, don't they? Often with
which
speakers.
we don't want. These are ultra near field. These are specifically designed for somebody sitting in their flat, their apartment, and didn't want a ton of bleed to annoy the neighbours or
their
the
own
parents or other siblings or whatever it might be. Yeah, amazing.
Very cool.
As ever, we're going to have Callie throw them under the bus and do a giveaway on one of these systems. So you can enter down below to win the Ultra Near Field. And thanks, Callie, for sending them to us so we could try them out in a completely different environment with our good friend, Mr. Nick Soudan at Labarca Studios. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Warren.
So over and out. Have a marvellous time. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios. Any other languages?
Ciao.